this video, we're going to be taking a look at the best albums of 2025 so far. A link to the original list will be in the description down below. But without further ado, let's get into this. Ever since blackbraid released their 2022 debut album, they've been making huge waves within the black metal scene. Each album has seen the group expand upon their grasp of the second wave of black metal, as well as melodic death metal and Native American folk, to create something extraordinary and authentic. Taking this into consideration, blackbraid 3 feels special, a brilliant production job that ensures that every song feels dynamic and gleaming without losing its edge. When blackbraid locks in, this album in its purest form is simply a take no prisoners, blood and brimstone heavy metal album. Blood Vulture are a new name on the scene, featuring the likes of Jordan Olds, who teamed up with members of the Dillinger Escape Plan, Anthrax and Converge to offer up all-star covers including Crazy Train, Running Up That Hill and Hot the Teacher. But with his own musical project, Olds has tapped into the style of Typo Negative with a bit of Mastodon style sludge included for good measure. This is a good concept album about a vampire coming to terms with the realities of their immortal condition. It's a weighty affair but also absolutely captivating. In summary, this album contains a dazzling, girthy guitar tone that balances out the album's churning low end with an articulate doom leads. As Jerry Cantrell-like voice hits a sublime gothic tone amongst the heavy riffs. The previous album, Revenge at All Costs, was a critical moment for Confess, the band's much publicised plight as they fled imprisonment in their native Iran for Norway. It added an aggressive, elated edge to the songs, many of which were referenced directly to their experiences, but 2025's Destination Addiction, they letting the past be the past. The album is still aggressive and angry, but the band are clearly keen to move on to pastures new as they tie up the grooves and add a bit more bolder style to the sound. The result is battering and thrilling. In summary, it's a cry of an upright acrimony. Deafheaven are not the first band to mix black metal with shoegaze, but they were undoubtedly the first band that helped increase its popularity. Although they wandered away from the subgenre at times, their sixth album release, The Only People with Power, put them firmly back within its territories. It's superb, vicious, and undeniably enraged. The turn on drummer Mark Portnoy was a massive moment for Dream Theater fans. Granted, it was a certain shade of prog metal fan that the combination of elements was nothing short of magic. Celebrations all around then. That Dream Theater's 2025 release is absolutely epic. Parasomnia brings back concepts in a colossal way. The album shows the balances of a showcase of orthodox brilliance and musical excellence, combined with huge riffs and funky beats that underlined Dream Theater's status as the prog metal version of Metallica. Still proudly waving the flag for symphonic metal, Epica's ninth album release was bolstered by a typical sense of bluster and fist-pumping energy that has carried them to glory for over 2 decades. After the stylistic experimentation of the EP, The Alchemy Project, the Dutch group went back to their foundational elements in a huge way, with 4 orchestral elements and choirs added to a sense of enormity. Aspinall has the atmosphere and affection and the lurid hooks that Epica are known for, with real warmth beneath the polish. At this point, a new Ghost album carries the same weight and expectation that you'll get with other big names metal such as Iron Maiden, Metallica and Slipknot. Thankfully, Skeletor was not about to disappoint, continuing the arena-ready anthem with the band having embraced since prequel. Ghost's 7th album released AOR sensibilities with some of the occult rock riffage of the band's early records. The result was something unquestionably big. On Skeletor, Ghost displayed their confidence, flamboyance and defiance. If Imperial was their ascent into orbit, the latest release finds them looking down from above, unconcerned if the world can keep up. Whether it's Sabaton or Powerwolf, power metal is big business nowadays. But Helloween proved the grandmasters of the genre, and they aren't being left behind, even with their 17th album release. This album releases all the bluster and power that made the genre so popular to begin with. The second album to feature the Punkies Unite lineup of the three eras of Helloween vocalists brought together in Andy Duras, Michael Kiske, and Kai Hansen. This album allowed the band to embrace a legacy whilst boldly striving forwards. Helloween were already in a strong state when Kai and Kiske returned, but their reintegration has pushed Helloween to a level of Disney magnitude and helped create a jubilantly uplifting set of Diamond Hills anthems. I've started off with goth metal, but Lacuna Coil have added a lot more to the table decades since. Sleepless Empire continues a trajectory of heavier compositions that start with 316's Delirium. The gothic metal air has been entirely lost, as this album release manages to both put like a fresh spin on Lacuna Coil's sound whilst not losing sight of their origins. In summary, Lacuna Coil go headfirst into the heavier side, and it works. They're not afraid to evolve, to experiment, and to hit hard. Power metal may be big business in 2025, but it's also been a really big year for deathcore. Slow to Rebel gaining festival headliner status as they were down to headline Bloodstock next year. But deathcore heavyweights Lorna Shore made big moves within their 5th album release. This album reaffirms Raw Malrom's star status as the primo growler in chief. More than that, the album steps up a notable production values the band exhibited on Pain Remains to almost ridiculous levels. Deathcore never sounded so massive and futuristic. Huge things will almost certainly come on this album run, and Lorna Shore will be satisfied knowing their achievements came by focusing on their own expectations. Bands using metal to connect with their cultural roots has become increasingly popular since Sepultura first combined their groovy thrash metal with indigenous tribal folk more than 3 decades ago. But that doesn't take away from acts like Chile's Maziwa in terms of uniqueness or fascination. In fact, quite the opposite. Drawing upon the Mapuche culture, all is effectively mawiza's debut proper after the band changed name from Nonkan Sirimos Dishos, I hope I said that right, and decided to sing entirely in Mapuzogun at the start of the decade. Utilizing extreme metal, heavy grooves, and Mapuche folk, this album creates a sound of its own. It's barbarous, bitter, and the strongest statement of Maziwa's potential today. Even at this early stage, these up-and-comers feel fully formed and vital to listen to. Deathcore legends Whitechapel helped build their style and sound that has since inspired bands like Lorna Shore Slow to prevail. No one wants to be left behind. Hymns in Dissonance finds them reaffirming their chokehold grip on the fundamentals of deathcore whilst pushing their own boundaries forward. It's a compelling release proving that the more seasoned bands can still mix up with the younger bands. This album is an surely ugly slab of modern deathcore. So yeah, guys, let me know what your favourite albums so far of this year have been in the comments down below. Other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.